Colleagues from our Bavarian State Parliament, dear Ute Klamert, dear Dominik Heinrich, dear Bernhard Kovac, directors and staff of the World Food Programme, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you from all over the world to this state reception in the Munich Residenz today. The dialogue with the World Food Programme of the United Nations is very important for me. Dear David, we have met several times in Washington and in Berlin and so on. Most recently at the Munich Security Conference last February. I also had a very good discussion with Mrs. Klamert during my trip to Rome 5 weeks ago, I believe. And I'm in constant contact with Dominik Heinrich for many, many years. Ladies and gentlemen, former US President John F. Kennedy once said, "The war against hunger is truly mankind's war of liberation." Yes, the World Food Programme took up this global war of liberation against hunger more than 60 years ago. That is because having enough to eat is a fundamental human right. You, ladies and gentlemen, are fighting for this human right with your daily work in the World Food Programme. I would like to express my greatest respect and deepest thanks for your efforts in the fight against hunger. The World Food Programme has existed for more than 60 years. It is the world's largest multilateral organization working to end hunger and improve food security. In 2020, the World Food Programme was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for its global battle against hunger and towards improving the condition of peace in conflict regions. The award by the Nobel Committee in Oslo has drawn the world's attention to the millions of people who suffer from or are threatened by hunger, and to the institution of the United Nations that knows how to combine specific aid with activities that secure and create peace. Dear directors, you have truly earned this honorable award with your daily work in the fight against global hunger. Ladies and gentlemen, hunger and poverty have many causes: war, civil war, violence, and so on. Hunger and poverty also usually have a specific consequence: flight. They may also trigger conflicts that in turn force people to flee. It is a terrible, vicious circle. This is why even former US President Jimmy Carter said, "We know that a peaceful world cannot exist 1/3 rich and 2/3 hungry." He was perfectly right in that. The past gives us many examples of hunger crises that force people to flee from their homes. Many Syrian refugees were living in Lebanon, Jordan, or Turkey in 2015, for example. The Syrian refugees suddenly received a lot less support from the World Food Programme, the UN Refugee Agency, or the International Organization for Migration. These, in turn, are receiving much less money from the donor countries. In 2015, many European states lowered their benefits significantly in spite of the warnings of the World Food Programme and the UNHCR. They had already pointed out the increasing deterioration of the living situation of Syrian refugees a long time before, asking the international community several times to provide more funds for taking care of the refugees. As a result, the humanitarian situation of Syrian refugees in the neighboring countries became considerably worse and eventually led to many of them starting to flee to Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, we must prevent such humanitarian disasters in future. Europe must learn from its experience from 2015. With 1 billion euros in the crisis areas, we would be able to change more than with 10 billion euros here in Germany or Europe. Fortunately, the fight against the causes of flight and towards improvement to the living conditions in the countries of origin or transit, in particular by development work, has increasingly moved into the focus of the last few years. Fighting the causes of flight is an important brick in successful migration and asylum policy. Help on site is the most human and at the same time the most effective path to prevent the causes of flight. The Bavarian state government also considers the fight against the causes of flight to be an essential brick of a successful migration and asylum policy. As a result, we are intensively engaged in the development cooperation. We also support the World Food Programme in this context. In 2015, the Innovation Accelerator was founded as a branch of the World Food Programme here in Munich. The Innovation Accelerator has the task of identifying ideas and innovative paths to solutions for a world without hunger and to globally implement these. This will significantly contribute to sustainable improvement of the food situation, both in acute crisis area and generally in the world's poorest countries, in particular by use of new technologies and sustainable business models. The Bavarian state government supports the Innovation Accelerator's work together with the federal government and other partners from science and industry. The Africa package is another contribution of the Bavarian state government to promoting cooperation in the area of development and to reduce the causes of flight. It is to support the focus regions of Ethiopia, Tunisia, Senegal and the Western Cape and Gauteng provinces in South Africa on their path towards sustainable development, in particular in economy and education, in agriculture and environment, and in administration. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of the current global political and humanitarian situation, the subject of global food supply is more important than ever now in 2022, and so is the work of the World Food Programme. Now, the war in Ukraine has been an additional factor since the beginning of this year. Its implications go far beyond the country's borders, triggering a wave of collateral hunger due to loss of grain exports from Ukraine and Russia. These two states are among the global main exporters of grain. Many people feel that Putin is specifically trying to use hunger as political leverage. Global flight movements are threatening as a result. 2 weeks ago, the High Commissioner of the United Nations, Filippo Grandi, informed that the number of refugees worldwide had reached a new terrifying peak as it exceeded 100 million for the first time. That number is horrifying and alarming. Ladies and gentlemen, The fight against the causes of flight and humanitarian support for the world's poorest people must be our order of the day. This is why we work to provide the World Food Programme with sufficient funds to quickly and effectively support those in need worldwide. We must not allow a global humanitarian disaster to happen. Our goal must be zero hunger. The World Food Programme is the most important player in this. Its commitment has become more important than ever before. Once again, I would like to express a heartfelt thank you for this in the name of the Bavarian state government. I wish you all the best, great success and God's blessings for the future, as well in your extremely important work. Thank you very much and have a good evening.